As we get started, I too want to say a quick word about our trustees. We have 9 of the most committed, most dedicated individuals serving on this board that I think you'll find anywhere. And I'll tell you, I think this is one of the most difficult jobs in all of politics because they walk it every day. You know, they never leave it. And you just wouldn't know the amount of time that they put into serving the students in this school district. So I want to thank all of them for their service to this school system. I want to start off by just giving you a very quick overview about Spartanburg School District 7. What do we look like today in 2012? Because we've changed a little bit over the last several years. Let me begin first of all by acknowledging some very important people. That would be my leadership team. I have 4 people who serve with me on what I consider to be my cabinet. Dr. Terry Pruitt is our Deputy Superintendent, responsible primarily for curriculum and instruction in the district. Missy Campbell, our Chief Financial Officer. Dr. Wanda Andrews serves as our Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources and Student Services. And Dr. Thomas White serves as our Assistant Superintendent for Planning and Operations. I love this next picture. This is a picture of all of our principals and our district office staff. This picture was taken about a 1.5 years ago following a community service project that we did in the Highland community. I think this picture epitomizes what our administrators are about in this school district. That's rolling your sleeves up, that's getting down, putting in the work and the sweat to get the job done. And I want to thank all of them for the work that they do. As we look at Spartanburg School District 7 today, you all know we are one of 7 school districts in Spartanburg County, one of 85 school districts in the state of South Carolina. And as you look at this map behind me, one thing you'll notice is that the districts all vary. You'll find places like Greenville County, where it's one county-wide system, Horry County, Charleston, Berkeley, Beaufort, where you have county-wide systems. But then you'll see areas like Spartanburg, Lexington, York, Anderson, where you have multi-county school districts. We are one of those school districts. We are one of the most well-regarded school districts and one of the most regarded counties that you'll find in South Carolina when it comes to our public education system as well. This has worked for us, and it's worked very well because we know even with the 7 districts that we have in Spartanburg County, all wonderful school districts, but all 7 districts are very unique. Spartanburg 7 is made up primarily of the city of Spartanburg. In fact, in the past, we were referred to as Spartanburg City Schools. So we know that District 7, even though it's very close to District 2, 3, and 6, our dynamics are very different, which means our challenges and our opportunities are going to be very different from 1, 5, 4, and 6. This is a little bit about our geography. We're about 50 square miles in radius as a school system. Today, we serve just at 7,000 students in our school system. You guys may remember the days when we had some 10,000 students in our school district. Well, we know that over the last decade or so, those numbers have shifted downward. And people often wonder, why is that the case? We also know, Mayor White is here, that the city has changed. We have members from the Housing Authority here this morning. The housing has changed, and we have moved from areas where there were once highly concentrated, densely populated housing areas to areas now where families are in single-family dwellings. And with those shifts in housing, it's caused some shifts in our population as people have moved out into the county. Certainly we know it's better for those families to be in those settings, but it's created challenges for us that we've had to address as a school system as well, especially as it relates to our enrollment. So if you were looking at our school district as a village of just 100 children, what would we look like in Spartanburg 7? 57 of our children would be African American, 33 would be Caucasian, 4 would be Hispanic, 3 Asian, and 3 would be of another ethnicity. Now, 96 of those children are going to be at school every day. We're very fortunate to have parents who value education and they send their children to school, so we're very proud of that attendance rate. 23 of those children will be enrolled in the Gifted and Talented program. 14 of them would have a learning disability other than speech. 78 of them would live in poverty. And let me stop here and give you the definition of poverty. The South Carolina Department of Education provides what's called a poverty index for every school district in South Carolina. That poverty index encompasses students who qualify for free and reduced lunch and or Medicaid. So as you look at our dynamics in District 7 today, for every 10 children that you see, 8 of them would qualify for free and reduced lunch and or Medicaid. That is the highest poverty rate in Spartanburg County, certainly not in the state. You'll find in our state it ranges from 24% to districts as high as 100%. The state average is about 70% here in South Carolina. And 71 of those students are going to graduate in 4 years with a high school diploma. And I say in 4 years with a high school diploma for a reason, and I'll share that with you as we talk about some of our challenges. We have a wonderful, committed team of educators in District 7. 1,200 employees make up this family of educators. We are district accredited, and let me say this, that's something that we're awfully proud of. There are some 30-some-odd school districts in South Carolina that can now say they have district accreditation. In the past, all of our schools were responsible for their own individual accreditation. We decided that we wanted to take a more systematic and systemic approach to accrediting our schools, because at the end of the day, it's not about an individual school, it's about the overall arching mission of the school system. This process is much more rigorous. It required individuals from other parts of the country to come into our school system. It required large meetings like this with our community stakeholders on a regular basis, and we were proud that in October of this past year, we received this distinction. Another stat I want to share with you quickly, our number of national board certified teachers. We have 82. This is the highest certification that a teacher can get in the United States. This fall, when they released a new cohort of national board certified teachers, we ranked in the top 10 nationwide for the number of teachers that were certified this last go-round. That's looking at school systems with as many as 70,000 students, 40,000 students, 30,000 students, and the like. So very proud of what we're doing with our teachers. And you can see the number of advanced degrees that we have, a talented, talented bunch of people. We spend a lot of time with one another during the day in education, and believe me, we become like a family unto ourselves. But an outstanding group. We are a mission-minded organization. At the end of the day, it's really not about what a test score looks like. It's not about how many region championships were won. It's not about competitions and state championships. At the end of the day, the way we go about measuring our success is to the degree that we've met this mission. At the end of the day. And our mission says this, the last line there, our goal is to produce productive, successful citizens. And regardless of what the data looks like, if this isn't happening in District 7, we're not meeting our core. So that's what we're all about. Now, for that to happen, you see 3 highlights on that mission. You see that word collaboration. We've got to do it together. You see parents and you see community. And if we can come together, believe me, we can make this mission a reality. Our motto, tradition, excellence, and innovation. I want y'all to remember that as you walk out of here today. Tradition, excellence, and innovation. Why do I say tradition? Spartanburg School District 7 is known throughout this state for being an innovator. If you look at the school system, who was among the first to start foreign language programs in South Carolina, it started right here in Spartanburg School District 7. If you look at our fine arts programs, programs like orchestra, started here in Spartanburg School District 7. If you look at gifted and talented programs throughout the state, Spartanburg School District 7 was at the forefront of starting those initiatives. So we have much to be proud of, but we know we can't rest on tradition. We can't rest on what we did in the past. We want to continue to be out front when it comes to educating our children. So that excellence and that innovation is a must if we're going to be successful as we move forward. Now, I don't want anybody that works in Spartanburg School District 7 that you approach to say what's important in your school district to not be able to communicate that with you. From our administrators to our secretaries, to our teachers, to our bus drivers, we want people to understand what's important to us. As a community, we want you to understand what's important to us. So we have some WIGs in our school district. We have 4 of them. We also call them BHAGs. If you've read Jim Collins' work, Good to Great, these are those big, hairy, audacious goals, those things that we are seeking and striving to accomplish as a school district. The first one, we want to be considered one of the top school districts in the Southeast. That's one of our WIGs. We don't want to just benchmark ourselves against other school systems in South Carolina. We want to look at where innovation is taking place in Virginia, in North Carolina, in Florida, in Georgia, and other parts of the Southeast. And when people talk about places to go and see where it's truly working, we want them to come to our school district. We will become a national model for exhibiting success in urban education. Now, people often pause in urban education. We're an urban school district. We may not be as large as Atlanta or Charlotte or some of the large metropolitan areas, but all of the dynamics that you'll find in those cities, you will find right here in the city of Spartanburg as well. The challenges that you find in those cities, you'll find them here also. And the opportunities that you'll find there, you've got them here, but on a much smaller scale. And with it being on a much smaller scale, I think the sky is the limit in terms of what we can do to show how every child can be served effectively in this kind of setting. We want to become one of the most innovative, choice-driven school districts in this state. You hear a lot about choice. There are articles in the paper today about choice. There were big discussions in the General Assembly yesterday about school choice. Our parents have options in this school district, and I'm going to share some of those choices with you in just a second. But we want to continue to explore avenues to be able to provide our parents with the quality and the kind of education they want for their children. And then, bottom line, I love my other superintendent colleagues. They're great. I love the other 6 school districts. But we want to be the school district of choice in Spartanburg County. When parents are looking for somewhere to bring their children, when they're moving out of state or up to Spartanburg County, we want them to look to District 7 first. We want them to say, I've got to do whatever I can do to find a home in District 7 so my children can go to school there. We want teachers to say, I want to work in District 7. I want to drive a bus in District 7. For those of you who are already in this system, we want you to look at this district with such pride that you'll say, there is no way I'm going to ever leave this school system. So that's what we're striving to become. We talk about tradition, excellence, and innovation, and these are the 4 areas where we're putting that focus, because we believe we have something to offer every child in this school system, in the arts, athletics, activities, and academics. Research has shown time and time again that the students who are involved in arts programs tend to do very well academically. We have some 1,100 students involved in our arts programs, band, orchestra, and chorus alone in grades 7 through 12. Now, if I were to look at the elementary programs right now and middle, that number would triple. The band continues to grow. We're close to 200 students on our band right now. Choral programs, shining lights throughout this state, as well as our orchestra programs, our visual arts programs, our drama programs. Just a wonderful job with what we're doing with the arts. If you haven't had a chance to attend one of the musicals here at the Chapman Cultural Center over the last several years, you're missing a treat. We cast over 100 students last year in Hairspray, from our kindergarten students all the way up to our high school seniors. Imagine that is a drama production, improv, where students deal with social issues here in Spartanburg County and that teens are facing. And this year we started our own corporation at Spartanburg High School called City Heights. Looking at our athletic program, again, if you look at the top CEOs in Fortune 500 companies, I think I saw a statistic that said over 80% of them were involved in athletics. This is where you learn those concepts about teamwork and overcoming adversity and working together. And we offer, from our middle schools through our high schools, over 36 different athletic teams, 900 student athletes. We have 58 scholar athletes, and you can see the many accolades that we've had over the course of the past year when it comes to athletics. And then the activities plays a big part in the daily lives of our schools, and we have quite a bit of things going on. At Spartanburg High School, we offer over 30 clubs and organizations for our students to be involved in. Our award-winning JROTC, 175 cadets there, just a number of leadership opportunities. We know there's a big conversation going on in our nation right now about obesity and childhood obesity and children living more active lifestyles. We want you to know that we are being very proactive in our school district when it comes to this initiative. You see some pictures here. Of course, this is Super. McCarthy Tesler this past year was named the Carolina Panthers Play 60 champion. And they had a wonderful pep rally where the Panthers were there, the Top Cats were there, and Super, where we encourage kids to get out and play 60 minutes a day. Partners for Active Living continues to be a wonderful partner. Our Walk to School and Bike to School Day continues to yield success for us. In fact, in Spartanburg County this year, we had the first, second, and third place winners countywide for those particular events. This picture here, that's what you'll find at Jesse Boyd Elementary School. We've launched a pilot program there where we're really starting, we've always promoted healthy lunches, but we're taking it to another level in our school system. That pilot program has gone well. We're hoping next year to move it to Cleveland Elementary School. I was at the Early Learning Center the other day. With the help of the Mary Black Foundation, those 3- and 4-year-old children have planted a garden, and I was in there and they were eating from the garden the other day. So we want to continue to promote this healthy lifestyle among our children. And our youth associations, they play such a vital role in that as well, and we're thankful for those partnerships. We need your support, but we also want you to know that we're here to support the community. And people are oftentimes amazed when they find out just how much is going on in the school system and how much our children are giving back. But we've supported everything from the J.C. Strobel Foundation to recycling to the day school and Carver Middle School coming together to clean up a cemetery the other day, the Humane Society, and I could go on and on and on. Our teachers and our students care about this community. This district cares about this community, and we're giving back. We have an AmeriCorps program in our school district called AmeriCorps 7. And last year alone, we logged over 21,000 hours in volunteer service. If you were to translate that into dollars, and there's a metric that you can use to do that, we gave back over $450,000 in community service to the Spartanburg community. Our United Way campaign, I'm pleased to say, we raised more money in District 7 for the United Way than any other school district in Spartanburg County, and 75% staff participation, and we want to continue that. So I just want you to know it's not just about you guys helping us. We're here to serve this community. But it all boils down to what's going on in the classroom. So very quickly, let me tell you how we're doing. Last year we had 4 Palmetto Gold and Silver award-winning schools. This is based on student achievement on the Palmetto Achievement Challenge Test, or PASS today, as well as the exit exam, graduation rates, and those things. We had 7 schools for last year. We have 3 National Merit finalists at Spartanburg High School this year. 3. You will not find another high school in Spartanburg County that can say they have 3 National Merit finalists. You won't find one. There are high schools in this state that have never had a National Merit finalist. Now, I want to say this isn't a one-time occurrence. This happens regularly at Spartanburg High School. We have 1 National Achievement finalist. This program was started back in the 60s to recognize an African-American student for their meritorious efforts in the classroom and for their student service. There's not another National Achievement finalist in Spartanburg County. The only one we have is the one that's right there at Spartanburg High School. Does a wonderful job. We have 2 Presidential Scholar candidates this year. Our nation awards 141 of those distinctions to students across this entire country. Now, these are the candidates. We feel confident that we'll end up with a finalist this year. Just 2 years ago, we had 2 Presidential Scholar finalists. 2. There were only 2 in the state of South Carolina. Those 2 came from the same high school. There were only 4 high schools in this country that could say that they had 2 in the same school. So we're proud of that rich tradition that we have. At the middle school level, one of the highest awards you can get in South Carolina is being named a South Carolina Junior Scholar. We saw a 5-year high this year with our junior scholars at 57. And then this year we recorded the highest number of AP scholars in the history of Spartanburg High School at 102. Up until that point, 96 had been the highest. Continuing with our testing, we saw increases this year with our exit exam. That's what HSAP stands for. We saw increases on SAT. 1 student sat down for the first time her junior year, took it, made a perfect score on all 3 parts: verbal, math, and writing. Perfect score. We've increased our scores on the ACT, and I'll say this about those 2 particular tests. They're not true measurements of how well an organization is doing. We're above the state average, but it's still our goal to be above the national average. So that's what we're pushing for at this point. We remain a state leader in AP. We offer more advanced placement classes at Spartanburg High School than any other high school in the state of South Carolina, at 23. 575 exams were given last year with an 80% passage rate. 38 of our elementary students made a perfect score on their state exam. And then Spartanburg High School was named one of the best high schools by Washington Post. And we've got such a comprehensive program. The one thing that I so enjoyed about moving to District 7 as a father, I knew my children who are in the 2nd grade and in the 5th grade, I knew they would have every opportunity to be engaged in anything that a school has to offer, whether it's Chinese in the kindergarten all the way up to offering orchestra and chorus and band in the 5th grade. We have a comprehensive program for our students here. Now, that's the good news. But we have some challenges in this school district that we have got to continue to address. And I want to talk to you in a very honest and candid way this morning about what those challenges are. Because they're not challenges that we can go at alone. It's going to take the effort of all of us coming together, as our mission said, in collaboration to make this happen. And the greatest challenge we have as a school district is addressing this concept of what's called an achievement gap among our students. When we talk about an achievement gap, we're talking about the performance that various students have against one another. If you look across this county, if you look across this state and this nation, you'll find that this is true of all of America. There is an achievement gap between minority students and Caucasian students. There is an achievement gap when you look at students of different socioeconomic backgrounds. And that gap varies depending on what group you're looking at. And we grappled back and forth with what data, what do we want to show this morning? Do we want to show our free and reduced lunch population versus full pay? Do we want to group all of the minorities together? And what I decided to do was just to be honest. And we looked at the area where we had the widest gap in our school district. And that's the information that I want to share with you right now. This first assessment that we're looking at is what's called PASS. This is the exam that we give statewide when it comes to our 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. We give it in 5 areas. What I want you to see here, these are our Caucasian students in District 7 and the percent meeting standard or above on that assessment. And these are the African American students in District 7. And you can see in reading, there's an 18-point gap. In math, there's a 21-point gap. In science, there's a 33-point gap. Got about a 50% passage rate on science. And one thing that you'll find about the science, so much of that has to do with inquiry and kids being able to go out and experience and touch things. Social studies, there's a 28-point gap and a 25-point gap in writing. As we progress on up into 9th grade, they begin to take what's called end-of-course exams. These exams are, in many cases, taking the place of final exams in South Carolina today. 87% passage rate on all of those exams, 55, a 34-point gap. And then with the exit exam, what you'll find in reading and math, there's a 16-point gap and a 24-point gap. As you look at the graduation rate, we have a 71% graduation rate in School District 7 right now. Now, I shared earlier that was graduating in 4 years with a diploma. One thing I want you to understand about the graduation rate is this. We do it a little differently in South Carolina. Thank goodness through the National Governors Association, everyone's going to start using the same criteria. But as it stands, a graduate in South Carolina is defined as someone who graduates in 4 years with a diploma, not 4.5 years. You know, if it takes you 4.5 years, you count against the graduation rate. If for whatever reason you wind up in adult ed and you get your GED, go on to community college, on to a 4-year college, and you count against that graduation rate. If you are a student at McCarthy-Tesler, a school that is one of the best schools you'll find in this country that serves our most severely disabled students, a school of which we are the fiscal agent for, so all of those students, for all practical purposes, we feel like they're our babies. They count against your graduation rate. So I just want you to know what that rate entails. But you can see what the gap is. There's a 23-point gap right now in our school district. And these indicators that I shared with you, these 3 and this one, these are the only 4 indicators that our state report card measures when it comes to our schools in South Carolina. And every year a report card is given on school districts. And if we're going to find ourselves really increasing that report card rating, we've got to do a jam-up job addressing those 4 areas. It doesn't take into account all of the other wonderful things that I shared. It comes down to 4 variables in South Carolina. So what are we doing to address it? Well, you can see these are 7 of our priorities, and I'm going to touch base on those. For those of you who are parents in this school district, you know we've been undergoing quite a bit of reorganization or restructuring or transformation. We use those 3 terms often. Our schools do not look today what they looked like last year. For the first time in the history of this school district, our freshmen, our high school freshmen, are now on the campus of a high school. That we feel like is going to pay dividends as we address the graduation rate and as we look to push rigor down into the other grade levels. Why is that so important? Research will bear out that freshman year is the most critical year as a high school student in terms of transition. These freshmen are housed on a different floor, and they're on the 3rd floor, bless their hearts, so they're getting a lot of exercise. Goes back to our wellness initiative. But they're on the 3rd floor, but they have the opportunity throughout the day to go out into the school for various electives. They're involved in the total life of that school. So guess what? When they move to 10th grade next year, there's not a big transition period for them. They've had that transition now. And I want to thank Jeff Stevens, principal at Spartanburg High School, and Sean Foster, our principal at the Freshman Academy, and their staffs. They've done a wonderful job making this a seamless transition for our freshmen. And we think this is going to pay dividends for us. As we moved our 9th graders to the high school, we made another move. We moved our 6th graders out of the elementary schools into a middle school setting. And I'll talk about the benefits of that in a few slides. So at Carver Middle School now, we're grades 6 through 8. McCracken is grades 6 through 8. And then we did a little something different at E.P. Todd. E.P. Todd became one of about a dozen schools in South Carolina that gives a continuous continuum of education from 3K all the way through grade 8. We didn't know how that was going to go over. Are the parents going to want to stay? You know, are the kids going to want to be in a setting with bigger kids? And you know what? By and large, I would say well over 90% of those families are opting to stay in that setting. So that's been a wonderful choice option for us. Now, a lot of this has had to happen through some restructuring and some reorganization. We ended up closing what used to be Whitlock Junior High School. We closed it and we opened the Flexible Learning Center, which now serves Spartanburg 1 through 7. And we have a number of other programs housed on this campus as well that are supporting what we're doing in our school district. Our board and this administration, we've come to realize that if we're going to close that gap, we're going to have to start earlier and we're going to have to give our students more time. So we made a big dent in this whole notion of starting early this year. If you ride down John B. White and turn on the Crescent, you will find, I think, what is going to become a model for early childhood education in the state of South Carolina. I think you're going to find a model for what can happen when partners truly come together. On this campus now, we have over 300 students from birth to age 5 housed at this early learning center. 200 4-year-olds, 60 3-year-olds full day, 24 babies to age 3, and 3 classes where we have disabled students that we're starting to serve at the age of 3. This is done through partnerships with First Steps. We will have a full-time wellness center there with a nurse practitioner to provide that wellness care to these students and to their families. Women Giving for Spartanburg is helping us address some issues that we've had with young ladies who have had children in high school who otherwise might not have been in school. They're at Spartanburg High School today. Their children are at the Early Learning Center, and we have a parent liaison that works with those young ladies and their children. We feel like this will keep those young ladies on track, but we also feel like this will reduce the rates of second-time pregnancies as well. And then Denny's continues to be an outstanding partner for us with the resources they provide in terms of staff to come in and read and work with the children. And you know, a lot of this was made possible because of the Mary Black Foundation. And I want to just take a moment to acknowledge the significant investment they made and that they continue to make in early childhood education here in Spartanburg County. We were awarded almost $1 million grant from the Mary Black Foundation to make this happen. Largest grant they've ever awarded. They've been able to provide consultants for us, and we have been hand in hand working to ensure that these children are served, not just at this center, but throughout the state. Again, a model program, and I would encourage you to try to visit there. And then starting earlier, more time. We've got to give more time to our students. I talked about the middle school move a second ago. Well, what did that do? On one hand, what it did with our sixth graders, it gives them an additional 40 minutes a day. Our sixth graders were in school till 2:30. Now, sixth graders all throughout the rest of this country were in school till about 3:10 every day. That may not seem like a lot, but if you take 40 minutes over a 190-day time period, it's close to 15 additional days of instructional time at the middle level. So we think this is going to pay dividends. Our after-school programs continue to thrive. We have an after-school program at the Freshman Academy, Boys and Girls Club, wonderful relationship and partnership with them. And then you've seen some news about Cleveland Elementary School as of late. Summer school is good. All of those opportunities are great. But truly, if we're going to start addressing this in a way where we can get some immediate results, we've got to start early. We've got to give more time. We're adding 5 weeks to the school year at Cleveland Elementary School next year. 5 weeks. I want to thank Mr. Logan. I want to thank his staff for stepping up and being willing to do that. We still, in this country, we're on the old agricultural calendar. It's 180 days. And y'all know, why did we do that? We did it because not y'all's day, but prior to y'all's day, people had to farm. Well, we don't have that anymore. And while other countries are providing year-round schools, schools that go at least 200 days, we're still on that old calendar. Now, I'm not getting ready to put everybody on a year-round calendar, but we've got to start addressing that achievement gap. And we feel like these 5 additional weeks, 3 hours a day where we're focusing on literacy, 2 hours a day where the focus is on mathematics, we feel like that's going to pay dividends for our students. I think you're going to find that what we're trying to do on the north side of Spartanburg will serve as the model for collaboration. Because we've got to have a healthy community if we're going to have a healthy school. And if we're going to have a healthy community, we've got to have healthy schools as well. So I think you're going to be seeing some things that go far beyond our redesign at Cleveland as we look at the north side. And then flexible learning solutions, guys. Let me say this, the graduation rate at 71%, we feel like we're making some great strides in addressing that. We do everything we can to hold on to students in our school district. The Whitlock Flexible Learning Center has paid tremendous dividends for us. But not only do we have the Flexible Learning Center, but for those students who might not make it in that kind of setting, we offer a program called Fresh Start, from 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock, where students can come and get their education. We have virtual classes now. Spartanburg County Public Virtual School opened this year, where kids can now go online and receive their education without having to come into a traditional building. What are these things doing for us? This slide shows you what our expulsions looked like 5 years ago and what our expulsions look like today in our school district. And it's not just those flexible solutions that's making the difference, but our principals, our teachers, our families, our communities, our discipline referrals are down, suspension rates are down, and I think you'll find the safest schools in our district that you'll find anywhere. You'd be surprised if you were to talk to the principal at Spartanburg High School and find out that they've only had 2 fights in that school this entire year. Now, we don't want any, but I'll tell you, any high school in this nation will take 2 fights. I want to share quickly a letter that I received on the 27th from one of our teachers, and it was written to her by a student. It's a quick letter, but it says this: "Thank you for staying with me the entire way through this challenge that I finally completed." And you will be amazed with this child's story, by the way. "Although times may get hard, it's always nice to have somebody there to motivate you to do what's right. From time to time, I thought about giving up, but it would have killed me knowing I gave up on you, because you were there to push me every step of the way. In life, we all face many different challenges that may be hard to deal with, but it's also people who are there to help you through these tough times. Now, after looking back, after all the years I've done to get where I am now, I'm actually proud of myself. It's rare that you find a teacher who calls home, motivates you to handle your business, and makes sure you're planning the best for your future." This was a young man that had a difficult time in a traditional setting, ended up doing some things through virtual education, and will be graduating now. And Henry, he'll be joining you guys at Spartanburg Community College, and we're proud of that. So I'm just letting you know, for people to say that we've got a one-size-fits-all approach is disingenuous. That is not the case. We do everything we can to provide for our children. And then this whole notion of a college-going culture is something that you're hearing everywhere, and we know this is critical for us. 85% of today's jobs require some form of education beyond high school. So gone are the days when we need to be saying, well, college isn't for everybody. They've got to get something beyond high school. The 71% of the students that I mentioned, I do want to say this. If you look at the students who graduate from Spartanburg High School, if they'll just stay with us, what you'll find is about 81% of those kids will go on to a 4-year, 2-year technical school. The class of 2010, this is what their data looked like. We get reports back from the colleges first semester of their freshman year. 47% of them went to a 4-year school, 29% went on to a technical or community college, and 4.4% of them went on to a 2-year institution like an SMC that does a wonderful job. So if they'll just stay with us, we can get them to that next level. This slide just shows you all of the choice options that we have in our school district right now. Parents have access to Montessori education if they so choose, arts-infused education, STEM, technology-infused education, our IB school, the Leadership Academy that we're getting ready to open, our GT programs, virtual education. Just awfully proud of the many choice options that we have as a school system. We received this report a couple of weeks ago from Standard & Poor's, and Moody's pretty much mirrored this. But this is what they said about our credit rating. It reflects, in their opinion, our strong financial position, our good financial management policies, that goes back to our board, including a demonstrated ability to make expenditure adjustments. They were so impressed with how we as a school district have navigated this economic downturn, some of the tough decisions that we've had to make as a school system. And I will say this, through it all, we have kept our focus on our students and on our programs. We haven't compromised a single thing. We've leveraged over $7 million worth of grants, a $2.5 million community schools grant for the Early Learning Center, $1 million from the Mary Black Foundation, a $3 million grant for STEM, a $500,000 grant for Cleveland Elementary School last year. So we're proud of that, and we want you to know we'll continue to go after those grant dollars. And then the last thing we're making sure we're addressing is our learning environment. You guys are comfortable out there today, aren't you? Yeah, it's nice to be in an environment where you can sit and learn, and we want the same thing for our students. You'll find with our elementary and our middle schools some of the most beautiful schools in the state of South Carolina. Our high school was built in 1959. Beautiful high school. I've got a letter that we received from the State Department of Education talking about this elaborate school that we were building. Mr. Johnson's here, his father chaired the school board. Grandiose ideas, and we built a flagship high school. But we can't just say we built a school in 1959 and let's just let it sit there and what a wonderful school we built, because times changed. So we're turning our attention now to the high school to make sure that those students have the kind of learning environment that they deserve. If you go into the cafeteria today, it looks totally different. And of course, this is another reminder of that college-going culture that we're trying to exhibit in our school district. Freshman Academy is on track to open. These students will have a little more room to spread out come August. This is the 3rd floor, and it ties into the 3rd floor here. They've got science labs here, some additional classrooms, and all of those support spaces there. I want to say this about our facilities. This is a picture of our dedication of our athletic facility. If you've never driven down Dupree Drive on a Sunday, I'd like for you to do it, because I think you'll see what we try to be about as a school system. You can go to many places all around this state and you'll find fences and locks on facilities. We don't have that. If you drive down Dupree, those tennis courts are being used for tennis lessons and a husband and wife competing against one another. These fields are being used, whether it's lacrosse or kids out playing soccer or doing whatever. You'll find senior citizens walking that track, and that's what we want. These are your facilities. This is your school. I mean, you're the public. We're a public school, and we want to thank you for allowing us to do these things as a school district. And we want to thank you for your stewardship in taking care of this as well. This is a shot of the Spartanburg High School library. And for those of you who went to Spartanburg High School, I know you're probably saying, wow, because we've done some wonderful work through our partners at McMillan Pads and Smith, the furniture there from Young Office Supply. This picture was recently featured in American Library's New and Now design in the March-April edition. So I can tell you, students would much rather go in here and study than to go somewhere where it's not all that conducive to learning. And then the next big thing we're turning our tide to now is technology. You all have your iPhones and your smartphones and your iPads and those things. Well, that's how children learn today. And our technology vision seeks to do a number of things. One, provide global access. No reason we shouldn't be able to connect our children with other people in other parts of this country and around the world. We want to foster critical thinking, collaboration, and prepare them for tomorrow's world. So we've made, in recent months, a much more aggressive effort to get the technology into our schools and make sure our teachers are trained to integrate it so that they can engage students, because this will increase involvement. The thing I love most about District 7 is that even though we may have some high rates of poverty, we have resources here. And if we can leverage those resources, guys, I'm telling you, we can be the model for this nation. I've shared a lot with you this morning. I do want to say that as you leave, we have something for you. It's called Just the Facts. It's a small little pamphlet. It has much more information than I shared this morning. We'd like for you to take one of these with you. If you want to save a tree, you can go online at Spartanburg7.org, and you can download that onto your iPad if you would like. But we want you to know what's going on in our school district, so that is there for you. I want to say this. I often talk about Jim Collins in Good to Great, and he has a number of principles that we try to abide by in our school district. One of those principles is called the flywheel. And essentially what Jim Collins describes is a big flywheel that's sitting here, and it's just sitting at a standstill. And for that flywheel to make that rotation, it's oftentimes hard for it to get going. But if you can get disciplined people with disciplined thought and disciplined action pushing in the same direction, it makes that first rotation. And if we can just keep pushing in the same direction, you know what? That second rotation is a little easier. And as you keep pushing, it becomes easier and easier and easier. And eventually, that flywheel is clicking on all cylinders. He goes on to say this: it works because more than anything else, real people and real companies want to be part of a winning team. That's what we all want. They want to contribute to producing real results. They want to feel the excitement and the satisfaction of being part of something that just flat out works. And when people begin to feel the magic of momentum, when they begin to see the tangible results, and they can see the flywheel start to build speed, that's when they line up, throw their shoulders to the wheel, and push. And that's when change really happens. If you want to know what the state of the district is, I'm telling you it's good, because the momentum is there. It's good because I'm going to tell you, internally, people are putting their shoulders to the flywheel. We've got that momentum. We see those results right now, and it feels good to see that. Now, what do we need from you? We need for you to join us. We need for you to line up with us and put your shoulders to that flywheel and push with us. If we can do that together, we're going to see great things continue in District 7. This is how we want you to help. We want you to be engaged. We simply want you to know what's going on in our school district. Whether it's reading the newspaper, make sure you're reading the right one though. If it's reading the newspaper, you know, if it's going online to see what's going on, if it's reading Just the Facts, we want you to be engaged. You need to know what's going on in your public schools. We need your support. There's so many things going on right now. We've got something for everybody. Go take in a show. Go attend a sports event. Buy some gift wrap from that student that's, you know, doing the fundraiser for PTSO. But we need for you to support and be a participant in our school system. And we need for you to promote. We need for you to promote not only public education, but we need for you to promote Spartanburg School District 7. Tom Moore, who was our new chancellor at USC Upstate, recently spoke at Spartanburg High School on Monday at their Academic Excellence Banquet. Did a wonderful job speaking, but I'm going to tell you what the students left out of their remembering from Tom's speech. He stood up and he said that he, lived in Northwestern, lived in Rock Hill. His kids went to school at Northwestern, but he now lives in District 7 and he's a Viking. That was the biggest applause he got that night. And that is what we need from every last one of you. We need for you to promote the positive things that are going on in this school district. And we thank you for your support, guys. I thank you for bearing with me this morning. And we look forward to continuing to partner with all of you. Hope you have a great day.